Haley,
Present.
Mark Farrell,
Present.
Paul Pinckney, Joseph Runkle,
Present.
Keith Batman,
Here.
Hans Petcher,
Here.
Terry Baxter,
Aye.
Joseph Bennett,
Present.
Frank Reginelli,
Here.
Patrick Mahonik is excused, Timothy Lattimore,
Here.
Michael Didio is excused, Ryan Foley,
Present.
Michael Chapman.
Here. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of prayer? Remember all those that are affected by the weather and other tragedies in our country. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, I believe you have some announcements there.
Do. Our sincere condolences to the family and friends of Robert Contaguglia, former president of the Cayuga County Board of Supervisors and a long-serving surrogate court judge. Carl Fleer, father of Melinda Kostreva, Cayuga County Treasurer's Office employee. Luigi Lombardi, retired Veterans Counselor of New York State Department of Labor, Army veteran of the Vietnam War. Emma Holtby, mental health nurse at the Cayuga County Jail. Lucille Coleman Bracey, mother-in-law of Barb Coleman, Deputy HR Administrator, and mother of retired Highway Supervisor Randy Coleman.
At this time, I'd like to say congratulations again to all those graduating from the Leadership Cayuga class. We've had them here among us. They had a great article in the paper this past week upon graduation. Certainly it's a great program. I know a lot of the comments from some of the graduates was how much they didn't know about Cayuga County until participating. So again, congratulations to them, and excuse me. We'll look forward to the class next year. So at this time, I would like to give a hearty welcome. We have among us a new college president, Mr. Brian Durant. If you would come up for a moment, Brian, I'd appreciate it if we could give him a round of applause and welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for such a warm welcome and round of applause. Just briefly, certainly I feel like the lucky one to be selected to serve as the next president of Cayuga Community College, and to move to Cayuga County. In my research, of what Cayuga Community College was about, before applying and going through the process, I saw a college that was dedicated to its students, that was committed to putting out offerings that match with regional workforce and really give students an opportunity for their goals for future transfer. And when I was on campus a number of months ago, I really got the sense from people of just how proud they were to work and to support the students of the college and to be a part of this community. And that really was inspiring to me, and that's why I feel so grateful to be selected as the next president of Cayuga. So I look forward to working with you, getting to know you, and continuing to represent the college in the best way that we can, and for a very bright future together. So thank you for your warm welcome. I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a small formality related to Mr. Durant's arrival, and at this time I would like to move that this legislature affirms the appointment of Dr. Brian Durant as president of Cayuga Community College and actions by the Board of Trustees. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Runkle seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Bennett would like to abstain, I know that, but thank you very much. Proclamations, Madam Clerk.
Elder Abuse Awareness Day, June 15th, 2015.
And if I could ask Tracy Dakes to come on up, please. Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Whereas each year many individuals aged 60 and older are subjected to abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation. And whereas Elder Abuse Awareness Day offers an excellent opportunity to provide information about abuse, neglect, and exploitation in later life, and whereas the seniors in Cayuga County are a valued member of our society, and it remains our responsibility as a community to ensure that they live with a sense of safety and dignity. And whereas public awareness of abuse of older people and the continued investigation into such acts against them is necessary to ensure their quality of life and allow them the right to continue to live as independently as possible and contribute to the vibrancy of Cayuga County. And whereas it is the responsibility of our community to ensure the safety of Cayuga County seniors. And whereas elder abuse does not discriminate, now therefore be it resolved that I, Michael H. Chapman, Chairman of the Cayuga County Legislature, and fellow legislators, do hereby proclaim June 15th, 2015 as Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Cayuga County, as a call to action for individual organizations and communities to raise awareness about elder abuse, neglect, and exploitation. So Tracy, thank you so much for coming in. If you wouldn't mind saying something, like, please feel free. You only have 15 minutes to fill.
I didn't really prepare anything. Thank you for this proclamation and recognizing our efforts in keeping the elderly population for Cayuga County safe and focusing on their well-being in our investigations into acts of elder abuse.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
St. Baldrick's Day, June 14th, 2015. This has already been presented. Barb Coleman Day, June 30th, 2015. That will be presented next week.
And that's due to the death of Barb's mother-in-law, so she couldn't be with us this evening. So we will take care of that at a later date. We have some other employees that are going to be retiring later this month and next month, and so there'll be proclamations with regard to their service and departure from our community here at Cayuga County. Madam Clerk.
Emergency authorization. This is from the Health Department to authorize the temporary filling of the Director of Community Health Services position within the Health Department. This has been signed and approved. It was signed by Mr. Mahonick, Mr. Chapman, Mr. Petcher, Mr. Runkle, Mr. Didio, and Mr. Batman.
Okay. So we have a presentation at this time.
We do. Here comes Andrew now with the connection to opengov.com, which is the program I was talking about to Ways and Means earlier. There's Ways and Means.
Sorry, give me a second.
One thing during this presentation, Andrew has to use a microphone. So if there are any questions, we're going to have to kind of relay the question back to the presenter to make sure that he understands and we can get an answer.
If I could, while Andrew is setting up, the goal of this program is twofold. One, it was developed to help counties provide transparency of their finances to the public. But the second part of it is that it is very user-friendly. It's easy for the public to use, but that also means that it is easy for others to use, such as department heads and legislators, people who are not necessarily accountants or accountant thinking, because we do have kind of a unique way of thinking about things. And so the goal is to make this information easily available to others within the county as well. So I think both the public and county staff and county legislators would benefit from using this. But this is to give you an opportunity to look and see what it can do.
Change up, it's not working that screen now. Sorry. Joanne, you're on the phone, but we're having issues getting you connected.
Okay, I'm ready.
So we're having issues with the projector. So if you want to just
Okay.
start talking while I get this fixed.
So the voice on the phone, there's Owen Silver from opengov.com.
Yeah, hi Suzanne. Would you like me to just kind of start with an overview while we're getting the projector going?
That would be great, Owen. Thank you.
Okay, super. Well, thanks to Andrew for helping this get set up, and I really appreciate everyone's time today. Look forward to showing you not only OpenGov, but also a draft site that we've set up for the county with your actual data. But want to start by thanking Suzanne Sinclair and Keith Batman for this opportunity to present to you all, and also thank Joanne Hildebrandt for helping us with the data export that we use to set up your OpenGov draft site. So I'd like to start with just a very quick introduction so you have some context and know a little bit about who we are, and then we'll be happy to show you the demo once we get the projector going. But we're a software company based in Silicon Valley, California. We've been in business for 3 years, and we've developed the premier web-based service for accessing and communicating government financial and budget information. And it's designed specifically for that purpose, specifically for multi-fund government accounting, and has many unique capabilities. So it's a pretty unique product suite. We're working now with more than 325 local governments across the country, including about 45 counties. We also work with the National Association of Counties. In New York State, our customers include Saratoga Springs, Cortland, Newcastle, Croton-on-Hudson, North Hempstead, Whitesboro, and we also work with the Fire Department of New York City. I'm going to speak and give a demo for about 10 or 12 minutes and try to save some time for questions and answers. We've got a product suite that's got 5 different report types. Our core product is called the Annual View, enables you to view historical annual revenue and expense information alongside your budget or budgets. And that's the product that we set up for you as a proof of concept. And it's literally a draft site is what we call it. It's literally a rough draft. So we haven't gone through our full process of refinements and getting feedback. We literally took a data export from your system and built a new OpenGov site on our platform. But it's a good illustration of how quick and easy the setup process is. It's generally a few hours of a finance or IT person's time to set up. Joanne sent us over a couple batches of data, and within a few days we had the site up and running. And then from there, when we work with our customers to prepare their sites, we go through a formal acceptance process where there's unlimited technical support, unlimited opportunity to give feedback and go through refinements with our team. And then just a word about the technology. This is entirely web-based. It's totally cloud-based service. Does not require any installation, doesn't require any integration. We don't go behind your firewall or touch your accounting system. We basically work with an export of your data to set up a standalone website on our platform, which we host and maintain. So it's a fully managed service, and the service includes a high quality of service, unlimited technical support, all the hosting and management, all of the upgrades and enhancements are included, and unlimited technical support, as I mentioned, and ongoing training webinars for the administrators, and you have a dedicated account manager and services rep. So we're very service-oriented. It really is in our interest to help our customers get the most value and get the maximum number of users out of the product. Now, there are 2 main things that OpenGov is used for. One is for external transparency. It's a great tool for sharing information and presenting information to residents in a form that they can more easily understand and interact with, and that can lead to a more informed, productive dialogue and build trust with citizens. Secondly, it's used just as much for internal financial reporting, to make information available and understandable in much the same way to department heads, to the legislators, to elected officials to enable better insights, better decision making, and then the real return on investment comes in the potential time saved by finance teams using OpenGov to really reduce the workload that they have in creating their reports, budget books, presentations, and fielding inquiries. Most people can get the information they need by self-serving and going to the website themselves. So there are a number of different applications like that. We learn all the time from our customers of new and better ways to use the service. So we have learned a ton from our customers. And we have on staff municipal finance experts as well, several people with decades of experience working in local government as CFOs and city managers and those type of positions. So along with our technical expertise and our world-class product and engineering team, we've also got folks who have the subject matter expertise to create this really unique product that's really the best of its kind. So that's my intro, hoping that we can show the demo in a minute here.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So everybody able to see and hear okay now?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. So this is just our public website, and now I'm going to show you, this is the brand new OpenGov site, draft site for Cayuga County. Normally you'd have your county logo up here, but we haven't done that customization yet. But when you first come to this report, this annual view report we call it, what you see is a high-level breakdown by department, or in your case, legislative committees with the underlying departments. And I can show a multi-year view here so you can see that trend overall. So you can see we've loaded in 3 years of actual historical detailed data for both expenses and revenues, and a couple versions of the budget now in this shaded area, so that you can see, or any user can instantly see the total budget, high-level breakdown by committee, and those totals. You can run your mouse over the chart. They're all totally interactive, and see those actual totals. You can see the $145 million total budget. You can see that breakdown by committee. And then the charts can all be clicked on directly. So if I want to explore this committee, I can click on there, and it'll take me into each of those departments. I can go down another level by clicking right on the chart and see that breakdown. You can also, at any point, you can scroll down, and underneath each chart is always a table with all the corresponding numbers as well. So there's something for everybody. There's numbers for the finance people and pictures for the rest of us that we can understand and interact with. It's super user-friendly and easy to navigate. You can always go back by hitting this back button, or just reset by hitting this reset button. In addition to viewing expenses, you can also view revenues. And revenues can be broken down by department, fund, or type. Revenue type being the source of revenue coming into the Treasury. We can explore taxes and fees, and say we're just interested in sales tax. We can instantly see that's the biggest source of revenue under taxes and fees. We can look at sales tax. We can change the breakdown over to department view and actually see how the money is being distributed through the government. And when I click that, it shows that it's all going to the legislature, which may or may not be accurate. In addition, we can also show you another example of this kind of multidimensional viewing capability, where when you switch this over to expense type, I'm back on expenses now, and I can view these by expense type, where instead of looking at the organizational structure, now I'm able to view the accounting structure, the financial structure. And by the way, we set up your actual chart of accounts structure. So the labels and the structure will all match what you're used to seeing in your reports and in your budgets. So we actually map the data to your specific chart of accounts. So we can, for example, drill down into personnel and salaries. If we want to, we can view just overtime, for example, and see down to the object level in the accounting structure. This is total overtime across the organization. And here's the really amazing thing. When I switch this back to the department breakdown, now I've got overtime by department. And so OpenGov has this unique capability of very quickly and easily generating these multi-dimensional views of your data that can basically slice and dice across these different structures simultaneously. but it's all done in a very intuitive and user-friendly way. So in addition to the chart formats we've shown so far, let me go back up to that higher level here. We can also select different chart formats. So if we want to see this as a line graph, we can just click on these icons, and then the stack bar graph we can look at, and then we started out with that pie chart. We can go to the pie chart. And so one of the really great tools for saving time, I mentioned before, the internal application here is this download button. So this is what finance teams use to save a ton of time. And essentially, instead of working with Excel spreadsheets and spending many hours with big, complex Excel spreadsheets, trying to generate charts and tables just the way you need for your reports and budget books and presentations, you can literally cut that down to a few seconds on OpenGov. Within a few clicks, you have thousands of potential reports at your fingertips. Select the chart format that you want, and then you can instantly download any chart as an image file, and any of the tables below can be downloaded as a table or a spreadsheet. And so you've got that file now. You can just drop it straight into your PowerPoint or document, and that is a huge time saver. One of the case studies that I've shared is with the controller of New Haven, Connecticut, who's been using OpenGov for over a year now, and he expects to save over $25,000 just on staff time that they're going to save doing their regular reporting. Some of the reports are actually obviated by this, and many of our customers, instead of doing monthly budget variance reports, they just send out an email saying, here's the link, OpenGov's been updated, you can go there and see the year-to-date budget report, which I'll show you in a minute. But that kind of direct cost savings is in addition to the many other benefits that can be realized by having this information so easily accessible, so easily understandable throughout the staff and to elected officials. So instead of showing up for a budget meeting to examine and work on a proposed budget, theoretically that information could be up on an OpenGov report where legislators could familiarize themselves and study it before the meeting and come in prepared to talk about it, already understanding it. It can also be used as a great visual aid during meetings or public hearings. Here's a picture of our friend Mayor Garcetti in Los Angeles just a few months ago using OpenGov to present his budget. And it was really neat to see when he got questions from the press corps, he navigated the site to answer those questions. So it's a really great alternative to the kind of static charts or complex tables that finance teams typically use to present financial reports or budgets, because as you're discussing specific items, you can actually drill down and explore in an interactive way. And again, gain better insights, make better decisions, and do it a lot more quickly and efficiently. One more thing I want to show you on this table is that since it's all mapped to the chart of accounts, so when you're at this higher level, you can just hit this expand button, and it'll expand each one of these departments into its underlying divisions, and those can be further expanded into their underlying programs or projects. So it's all hierarchical, again, totally matches the chart of accounts structure that you already are working with. So that is the annual view report. I'll show you one other thing here, which is that we have this filter menu. In addition to all these great ways that I've shown you that you can navigate and explore this data, it's also got the capability to generate even more customized reports by using this filter menu. And when I click all and open up all these filters at once, this essentially shows you your chart of accounts structure. And so you can see all your funds, your departments, the hierarchical level of department, division, programs, and under expenses, you've got your account groups and underlying objects. And these checkboxes here enable you to select any combination of specific items from anywhere in the chart of accounts that you might want to create a custom report for. So, say you want to just compare administrative programs and divisions. You could actually, type in a partial keyword up here, and it instantly highlights any of the matches from any level in the chart of accounts. And then you just start clicking the ones that you want to build a custom report. And that's a useful utility in itself, just being able to locate things in the chart of accounts so easily. And I'll show this as a graph of this type. But I just took a few seconds to generate this highly customized report with visuals and everything, corresponding table below. And then, of course, we can download that as a spreadsheet or download the chart image in any format we want. So this is really a super user-friendly, intuitive tool that's yet very, very powerful and gives you really unprecedented access to all your data. So that's the annual view report. This is your actual Cayuga County data here that we're looking at. We've got several hundred governments using this platform. And I want to just spend the last maybe 1 or 2 minutes showing you the rest of the package. There are 4 other reports that come with this package that can also be used. I'm going to jump over to check out a couple other governments here, like the city of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had a very high-profile launch a couple months ago. The mayor got a lot of great press and held a big press conference with national exposure. In addition to the annual view, they also have their current year view. And each of these reports can be public or private. That's up to you. They happen to have this public, so you can look and see where they are in the actual year-to-date for the current fiscal year, in this case 5 months in their fiscal year, through the month of May. And it compares those numbers to a prorated budget number, so you can see generally how you're tracking a budget at any level of detail. And that same year-to-date point actuals for past few years for historical context. You have all the same ability to drill down and slice and dice the data like we showed before. And now when you go down the table below, which you can expand again, you have not only your numbers from the chart, but also calculates for you that actual versus budget variance. So that is our current year report. We also have a balance sheet report that enables you to view balance sheet data at any level of detail across multiple years. This can be really helpful. Some of our power users have built this into what they call a treasurer's report, where they can monitor their investment allocation, make sure it's in compliance with their policies. They can monitor cash balances and capital projects and funds. The other report that I want to show you, we call Budget Milestones. This is a county in Minnesota that actually makes this public. Most of our customers use this just internally, but some actually have participatory budgeting process and welcome their citizens to check out their proposed budget and track it as it goes through these phases or milestones of development. And this can really facilitate more efficient collaboration. Great way to get feedback from department heads, for example, as you're working on your budget. So great tool, again, for communicating complex financial budgets to folks like me who are not finance professionals. Really enables you to get your head around it and understand it much more quickly. That's the Budget Milestones tool. And then the last of the 5 reports is an actual checkbook or transactions product that gives you actual GL level detail with all of your actual transactions. And this would be structured according to your data structure. Very flexible data platform that we've built that it can accommodate any structure. So this provides a way of really searching, sorting, aggregating, filtering this data by any conceivable criteria that you would like. Enables you to very quickly get to totals within a given date range by department, by vendor. You can put in a date range. You can click right on a vendor, for example, and just search or sort by that vendor. Each time you apply a filter, it'll update this total. You can also stack up multiple filters based on any field in the data set. And again, these would be your fields in your data structure. You can also aggregate the data by any field like vendor or department and see a total number or totals and click on any one of these and again get a total by vendor. This product can also be a huge time saver during audits. We have many customers telling us that this has saved an enormous amount of time because instead of their finance staff having to once a year or so sit with the auditors for several weeks at a time to be available to fetch all their transaction samples, they can just point the auditors to this report and they can go back to work and work on more important projects and save a ton of time that way as well. So we also have a back-end control panel. I won't take your time to show that now, but we have a whole set of tools that enable you to control your saved reports. You can manage your annotations. You can do the updates yourself. So all in all, it's a pretty comprehensive set of tools that give you a whole new level of control over the way all of your information is presented and distributed both internally and externally. And appreciate your time and happy to take any questions.
Can we get a copy of this presentation and will it be interactive?
Better than that, we will share these links with you. These are all public websites that you can explore on your own.
So we should have, isn't it correct, Owen, that we would have access to the draft site?
Yes, we've given you password-protected access to this draft site. There's a single password, Suzanne, so you're free to share that with your legislators if you'd like, or anybody else who'd be evaluating.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, I think we're good with questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Owen.
Okay, you're very welcome. Thank you all so much for your time.
All set. Public to be heard. We have Mr. Ruscott who will speak to us about the YMCA. Want to come right up to the podium, sir?
All right, well, I would like to first introduce myself. I'm Ken Ruscott, and I've been overseeing the Cayuga County Pool Therapy Program down at the YMCA since approximately 1990. I'd probably have to say, I think it was about 15 years ago, I stood up here to receive a 25-year recognition plaque for that program. That got started roughly in 1975 by a physical therapist by the name of Barbara Bliss. This year, as you know, we did have a little bit of a budget issue. That did come to my attention, I believe it was back in January or so. And through the I guess I could say the kindness of the legislatures, as well as many letters that participants and former participants wrote in support of the program. The committee here has extended the funding for this year. So the idea, I believe, is perhaps over the next couple of years, the YMCA apparently may be taking over the program, but I just wanted to come out tonight to personally thank each of the legislators here for helping to keep this program going. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Lattimore, I believe you have a couple of folks who would like to speak.
Yes, Cerise Mead is here. Wanted to say a few things along with her aunt, Paulette Johnson. She's Pauline Johnson, who swore me in once upon a time here in this office. She's in Buffalo. Maybe you can explain why she's not here tonight.
She has a church event.
Up in Buffalo for the AME church, but she, turn that microphone a little bit, would you, Sharice? But Sharice was she was an Auburn firefighter, and very proud to have her here tonight.
Thank you. Sharice Mead, my Aunt Paulette Johnson. On behalf of my grandmother, Pauline Copes Johnson, who couldn't be here this evening, I'd like to thank the Cayuga County Legislature for their support of Congressman Katko's efforts to have Harriet Tubman's image appear on the $20 bill. As a descendant of Aunt Harriet, I am very pleased and proud that so many are in favor of honoring her in this way. It's very ironic to me that a woman who was once bought and paid for with U.S. currency as a slave is now in the running to adorn the front of one of the denominations. It seems as though she's come full circle. Harriet Tubman was truly an incredible human being, strong, determined, brave, faithful, and resilient. Despite very humble beginnings and her small stature, she was just 5 feet tall. She accomplished many incredible achievements. To name a few, she escaped to the north from slavery, then went back to the south 13 times to ultimately lead approximately 70 slaves to freedom, all this while avoiding capture by fugitive slave catchers. After settling in Auburn, she used land she bought from William H. Seward, who was a senator at that time, to use as a safe haven for her family and friends, and offered room for boarders who were seeking a better life in the North. She served in the Civil War as a spy and a nurse, and was the first woman to lead an armed assault in the Combahee River Raid during the war. This resulted in the rescue of over 750 slaves who worked in the various plantations that stretched along the river. After the war, she became a prominent figure in the women's suffrage movement. She also showed her commitment to human rights by opening the Harriet Tubman Home for the Aged, a home which tended to the needs of the old and the poor. Throughout her entire life, Aunt Harriet dedicated herself to helping others. She did this unselfishly and without hesitation. She did it without an education and many times without money. Despite the condition she was born into, she ultimately had a huge impact on the lives of many, many people, and she left her mark in history. Again, I am very proud to see that others have recognized this as well, and I thank you all again.
Any other legislator have folks who wish privilege of the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just, were you going to mention Loretto in your message as the ribbon cutting that Hans and,
Yes, that'll come later in the
Okay.
report.
all right.
Any other legislators that wish privilege of the floor for anyone? If not, we will move ahead. Madam Clerk?
Minutes for approval, May 26, 2015, and they were attached for your
Mr. Petra.
reading.
Move we dispense with reading the minutes.
There a second?
Second.
Several seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have a Cayuga Community College report from Dr. DeCinque that has been attached. Are there any committee reports and individual legislator reports? Mr. Batten?
Yeah, I attended, a couple of things. I attended the Broadband Summit this past week, and just wanted to say a few words about that. I was able to attend another number of sessions, talked about new technologies and picked up a lot of information. One thing that really stood out for me is the Orleans and Niagara County are in the process of doing a number of joint projects, one of which is for broadband. But I was intrigued by the number of things they do together, and it's something that they, I think, would like to follow up on at a later date. The other thing is just a reminder, this Thursday is the Manure Advisory Committee recommendations. It's at 7 o'clock at BOCES, so to encourage everyone to come. There's an opportunity to comment on those if you so wish. And you can find the recommendations on our website through the planning department. There's a link. So thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lattimore?
I happened to have dinner with Darlene Carr, who used to be the CEO for Niagara Mohawk. And she's now on the Commission on Local Government Modernization for Onondaga County. I'd love to have her come over and speak to us about what they're finding with their program over there with the Commission sometime in the future.
Anyone else? Okay, Ms. Sinclair.
Thank you. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation with open.gov. I will get the link and the password to you as soon as I can. You have the report. There's not a lot different, but I did want to update you on a couple of things. One is that the annual reviews for department heads are going forward. We're working slowly. I had hoped to have them completed much sooner than it's going to turn out to be, but it'll be in July at least, so that's the good news. Also, I met this morning with Doug Selby, the city manager, and we discussed with Steve Lynch and also Christina Selvik from their Public Works Department to talk about applying for grants to move the motor pool project forward. It looks like we will probably apply for an implementation grant rather than a planning grant. We have a different strategy for completing the planning phase and involving the Department of State. But I wanted you to know that there, even though you don't see it, it's not very visible, but there is action going forward on that. So, thank you.
What, have we had any further discussion about the potential purchasing opportunity
Purchasing,
with the city?
oh, you mean joining the purchasing departments? No, we didn't discuss that this morning. This morning, we were focused on the motor pool.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Farrell?
Suzanne, a couple questions. One, in regards to the presentation, has Lynn Marinelli or any other of our staff been able to look at it and review it and see any potential for cost savings for ourselves?
No, I don't think Lynn has seen it. It was done with myself, with Steve Tobin, Keith Batman was present at one, and the chairman was present at one, but no, I haven't had Lynn to do that.
Next question, in your report, it talks about the multi-year budget. You're mentioning a figure of 2.4 million in regards to deficit.
Right, but that is, that is something that we, just like last year, we can deal with as we move forward. It's not as concerning, I mean, it's not the size it was last year, so.
I understand that. I just thought at Ways and Means we were discussing a different figure was mentioned.
I'm trying to, oh, was it 2.7?
No,
I may have neglected to change that in the report.
No, I
Sorry.
realize it's early, but I was just curious as to
Yeah.
the difference in the number. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we all set? Very good. Relative to my report, remember we have a Wasco Lake Day coming up. Great opportunity to get a little further education. I sent everybody an email. We have a new governor's aide to take care of our area. Her contact information is in that email. Something very interesting that happened a week or so ago, the Central New York Regional Planning Board had a meeting in the village of Manoa. Mr. Lynch was there, Mr. Pinckney was there as well. And they have a wastewater treatment plant that removes about 94 to 99% of the waste from the water, and they're utilizing wetlands to do this. Not a lot of high-tech machinery. They do have a digester that's gonna come online. They also produce compressed natural gas to the tune of 49 cents a gallon and operate their own pickup truck. Several other things they got going. They're very fortunate they have a mad scientist in charge of all this, and he won't mind me saying that. But it's something that everybody should, if you can, take a look at. Information's available. They're happy to arrange for a tour if we'd like, to see a little more in depth what's going on. And it's a very worthwhile thing for every town and every village out there that we represent, as well as larger organizations such as the city. We had a grand opening at the Commons at St. Anthony on the 18th. This was a very well-attended event. It's been a long time coming. We started, as you recall, in 2013. We did surveys and assessments for our own facility, and we knew that we had some financial challenges. The former Mercy location had some financial challenges, and it didn't appear that either one of us had the finances to continue down a long road into the future. So through the benefit of a HEAL grant, through the benefit of a lot of patience, I want to thank in particular the committee members we had here, Mr. Petcher, Mr. Didio, Mr. Mahonik, who were very faithful to the meetings. As you recall, we had meetings with our nursing home staff, the residents, their families. Mercy did likewise, and we worked hard to get through the hurdles that Department of Health had in front of them as well, and help them understand this very unique situation. I give a lot of credit to Department of Health in the end, even though I probably wasn't thinking very kindly of them in the process, but knowing that this was a very unique process that had never been done before in New York State, so they were a little bit unsure of these uncharted waters. Never before had anybody operated 2 nursing homes under one entity, and that entity, of course, was the Auburn Senior Services interim business, if you will, that was created to run those. And now, of course, that'll be getting dissolved at some point in time, and it will eventually fall under the Loretto umbrella. So we're very glad that we had a lot of help from the governor's office. from our local state representatives along the way, in particular Senator DeFrancisco, who's Chief of Staff in Albany, knew all the players at Department of Health and facilitated the many meetings and helped us penetrate that red tape. So very successful, standing room only, and it's a very beautiful site. Now, the director over there, Jack Pease, has offered a couple of things. One, he would like to know if the legislature would like to go for a tour and, you know, see what the fruits of your labor have done. And he also has a fairly large boardroom over there, so if we would like to take maybe a committee meeting on the road or something, we could go over there and make use of that facility. So I'm gonna send a follow-up email out there and let me know what your pleasure is. So that's about it at this point. Anybody have any questions? Okay, Madam Clerk.
Appointments and reappointments.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Runkle,
I'd like to waive the reading of the appointments and reappointments and move,
you'd like to move those appointments?
I would like to also move.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Batman,
Yeah, I would like.
is that a second?
No.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Whitman, Mr. Baxter. Now, discussion, Mr.
Yeah,
Batman.
I would like to discuss one of the appointments.
Sure.
The, the appointment for Dr. Stankus at the Community College Board did not have the opportunity to go through committee. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's come to my attention, I think all of our attentions, that a delay in this appointment for 1 month will not interfere with the operations of the college. It's a critically important appointment. It's a 7-year appointment, a reappointment in this case. The initial appointment had 3 people interested, which indicates how important it really is. I do not want to speak against the doctor in any way. That's not the issue whatsoever. But I do think it's important that we go through committee. For example, I'm not even sure if the doctor has affirmed his interest in a reappointment. There hasn't been any communications, but I think it deserves, it's important and it deserves discussion. So I'm not sure if this is appropriate to make a motion to send that through committee for consideration in July. If it is, I would so move.
Well, we have one motion on, or one motion on the floor
Good point,
presently.
thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Mr. Runkle?
Yes, to answer Keith's a couple of questions. Dr. Stankus is very enthused about being reappointed. My feeling is we appointed him, went through the process approximately a year ago, and to delay this another month to talk about this particular gentleman or other men or women who may want the appointment is a waste of our time. Dr. Stankus, I can attest that he has done an outstanding job on the board. He's on the finance committee, a very intelligent man, asks great questions, and I move we go with him.
And I believe this term ends at the end of this month. I think that was one of the things, and that was probably an oversight, you know, from both ends, that this temporary term was going to end. Mr. Lattimore?
I believe that Dr. Stankus is the right person to continue. I mean, we have a new president, and I think that Dr. Stankus has been through some learning curve, and I think that he'd be a terrific resource for the new president coming on.
Okay. Mr. Vitale?
I don't think there's any discussion whether Dr. Stankus is the right person or not. The issue here is that we just maybe 3 months ago approved a resolution that we send things through committee the way we're supposed to, and this is probably the second or third time that we're avoiding the committee process. So I don't think anybody's going to vote against this, but we have policies on how we do things, and we should follow them.
Okay. Any other discussion? Mr. Bennett?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to go on record that I will be abstaining from this.
Thank you, sir. There's no other discussion. All in favor of these appointments? Say aye. Any opposed? Carried. Madam Clerk?
Communications and announcements.
Mr. Petcher?
I move that we dispense with the reading of the communication.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
Double second. Any discussion on these? I would just like to note that, you know, we have communications here from Senator Nozzolio, Senator Seward, relative to requesting repeal of the SAFE Act, something that we communicated to our representatives and they have responded. All in favor of waiving these communications and announcements?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving right into the regular monthly resolutions. Mr. Runkle.
Mr. Chairman, we have our 1A and 1B resolution, which authorize payment of our bills from May 12th through June 8th. They've been through committee and approved.
There are no questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next, Ways and Means has 5 resolutions. I'd like to present Ways and Means 1, 2, 4, and 5 as a bundle. They've been through committee and approved.
If I understood you, 1, 2, 4, and 5 is a bundle?
Yes.
Is that right?
Correct.
I'd like to separate number 4 if there's no objection.
Okay. So it's bundle 1, 2, and 5.
1, 2, and 5. Any discussion on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next, Ways and Means 3 was revised most recently. This deals with our repurchase of tax delinquent property. Kelly's provided some updates over the last week, latest one today, and so this technically needs to be, I would make the motion, we approve it as revised.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Whitman, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Ways and Means 4, which is approving a collective bargaining agreement between Cayuga County Deputy Sheriff's Police Association and the County of Cayuga, has been through committee and approved.
We have Mr. Jones with us tonight, so we have benefit of counsel if there are any questions. Anybody have any questions relative to this agreement? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Health and Human Services, 9 resolutions have all been through on committee and approved. We'd like to offer them as a bundle.
Any discussion on HH 1 through 9? Mr. Batman?
I would like to consider HH2 separately, if we may.
HH 2 to be pulled out, so 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Correct.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. HH 2.
HH2, the authorization of the public health to create and fill a senior public health educator position within the health department, and authorize regrading of the senior public health educator, the health program coordinator position within the health department.
Any discussion? Mr. Batman, I believe you have a question.
Yes, yeah, I don't oppose making mid-year corrections there are reasons to do so. The WIC program is an example, we just approved that. There was a change in staff, was an opportunity to reorganize, and we've done such things other times. One of the positions in HH2 is a regrading based upon the discovery that the person's working out of title. Another reason to regrade in the middle of a year. However, the changes in the health program, what's the position called? The health program coordinators. These are simply upgrades of positions. In effect, promotion, a salary promotion. It concerns me if we're doing those kinds of changes in mid-year. They're better done in the look at the total budget. They're better done as a process of a total reexamination or some significant reexamination, as opposed to simply looking at given individual positions. And so I have some concerns about that. What I would like to see, and I would move that this resolution go back to committee so that the committee can at least discuss discuss that issue, and if the committee then prefers to bring it forward as it is, then at least it's been discussed in terms of precedent, process, and what it means for future action. So I would move that it be sent back to committee for a discussion.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. HH2.
Well,
I would say this at this time. I would beg your indulgence. The committee did discuss this in executive session. And if we go much further, we're gonna be going into personnel matters that would require executive session.
Yes.
But I'm confident that your questions that you've raised would be answered if the entire information was provided to you.
Then perhaps I would like an executive
You'd like to
session.
go into executive session?
I do not want to vote against this.
Would you like to go into
Yes.
executive? Is that a motion?
Would like it is.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Foley seconds, okay. We'll go into executive section at 6:56.
Can we vote on it?
Mr.
We
Whitman?
have to vote on the executive session.
Yes, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 opposed. If we could go into executive session, Kathleen, would you stay? Fred, Suzanne, if we could ask the rest of the folks to leave the room, please. This will be very brief. Peter, if you don't mind staying.
Oh, and Mr.
Ladies,
Russell?
we'll be quick. We'll be quick.
Mr. Russell?
Certainly. I saw your email. Mine was
7:02. Joe Bennett, Terry Baxter, and remember, 7:15.
But you know, she
Oh, yeah, I thought it was 7:10. Oh, Bennett and Baxter.
We're doing it.
What he said, Baxter said, it's not all about you.
It's not?
It's not. I was, my mother said it was. Hey, you got it.
Jump up there, Sheila. Jump up there.
Yeah, jump up.
This goes-
So close.
It's okay. Oh, it's Lattimore. Never mind.
Well, I know.
Never mind. We'll wait.
Okay, we're back to HH2. Right? Is that the right one?
Yes.
HH2. Any further discussion on HH2? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Government operations.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Government Operations has 3 resolutions. They've been through committees, and I'd like to bundle them.
Okay, 1, 2, and 3 is a bundle. Any discussion on these resolutions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Planning.
We'll be down against number 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Got against all 3 of them.
And planning, Mr. Farrell?
Planning has 5 resolutions, been through committee. I'd like to present them as a bundle unless somebody has an objection.
Okay, 1 through 5 is a bundle. Any discussion on these resolutions from planning? Were you waiving or?
No.
No, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Whitman?
Public Works has 5 resolutions. I would like to bundle 1, 2, 3, and 4 unless anyone would like one of those singled out.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
PW 5 was tabled at Ways and Means. I would like to bring it back at this time, if I may.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Runkle. Any discussion on PW 5? It appears now all the Ts are crossed, the Is are dotted, we're good to go. I made a suggestion during this process that I wish would be discussed in committee. Can't we come up with a policy that would cover these situations when county property is used or property that is controlled by the county is used? so that there's a little procedure, ABC, to do, and then it would diminish much of the conversation we saw in emails and.
We could try to narrow down the options, yes, we can do that.
Perfect. So if we could bring that up in discussion here in the future, it'd be great. All in favor, PW five. Any opposed? Thank
Yeah,
you. You're opposed, Joe?
Opposed, yep.
Okay, one opposition. Mr. Baxter, Judicial and Public Safety.
Mr. Chairman, Judicial and Public Safety has 3 resolutions. I would offer them as a bundle, unless there's an objection.
Okay. Number 1, 2, and 3, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have Ledge 1. The Cayuga County Legislature commends and supports the efforts of Congressman Katko to place the image of Harriet Tubman on a bill of U.S. currency. Is there a second? Mr. Baxter, seconds. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board? Mr. Lattimore?
I'd sit on the Health Committee, and I know that Oneida's getting 300 million to do a new hospital down in Oneida, and I think what they did was they downsized the inpatient facility from 571 down to 420. I know that, we cut the ribbon on Loretto for the nursing home, but I think our hospital needs a lot of help, and I hope that as elected officials, we push to try to get some of these grants that are going to other areas. And also, in regards to, I know tonight we had Soil and Water in regards to their energy buy. Binghamton, New York, followed the governor's plan with, after the flood, they had some problems with Bates Troy is an old laundry. They put a cogen in. They're the first microgrid in the state under the new governor's plan. And I think that Soil and Water could have one, and I also think the city could have a microgrid with funding from the governor. So hopefully we can push harder on those issues.
Okay, thank you. And the hospital is receiving aid through the assistance of our local state representatives.
Well, not to the tune of 300 million.
No.
Uh,
4.7.
Well, 300 sounds better than me.
Well, 4.7.
If only.
I got no argument, Tim.
Mr. Whitman, did you have something?
I was gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Anything else? Ms. Sinclair, did you have something?
I just wanted to follow up on Mr. Farrell's question earlier. When I look back at the presentation, it's in the box, the 3.9 million is the total of all funds. I did not identify the 2.4 as the general fund, which is what I intended. I tend to focus on the general fund because we use that to calculate the levy. So.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second for adjournment? Mr. Bennett, any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
It's been a thrill, Frank. Yes. Take care.